Good Monday makers. It's time for the Community Build Roundup. In this week's episode, we're going to be looking at a movie projector screen frame, a quilt rack, a conduit chandelier, an arching trellis, and a surfboard bike trailer. All kinds of awesome projects. And remember, even if you're not making any of these exact same projects, you'll be able to learn some techniques and get some clever ideas that you can incorporate into whatever it is that you're wanting to make. With that said, let's jump right into it and check them out. First up this week is a projector screen frame from Bob. You can see it's a nice setup they have on this back patio area, and they even have some theater seats here on wheels. They can roll in and out, and this is really great. I love movies, and I love outdoor movies with the family. And this is a great project for getting outside, and it's actually really simple. It's not that many connectors. I believe it's 2, 4, 6 total T connectors, and then 4 of the 45-degree bracing connectors. And really, it just consists of, there's a leg on each side, just a vertical that goes down. There's a T connector that connects the vertical to this front to back pipe. And then the vertical is just braced with the 45-degree connectors. And then between the two sides of the frame is a T connector and a long piece of conduit. And as you can see, the projector screen just gets stretched out within this rectangular frame here. And if you're making one of these yourself, you just want to get your projector screen frame first, or your white fabric that you have, and then, based on those dimensions, just make sure to build the frame so it kind of extends out of the frame or the screen a little bit, so it will allow it to pull it tight and stretch it out, as you can see here. And then you can use zip ties, ball bungees, bungee hooks, any of the different things that we've talked about in the past for securing to the grommets, and that works really well. And what's really cool about this, I think Bob shared this build a couple of years ago, but more recently he followed up with the solution that he used to make it where you can put it up and take it apart really easily. And we actually showcased this in a video a couple weeks ago. You can check out that full video. I'll link it down below. But basically, he used some of the tent pole clips inside of a piece of 1/2-inch EMT conduit. So basically, you can just press in those tent pole clips on these cross pipes and simply keep the legs together, but then just add those cross pipes in whenever you want to put it up for movie night. So it's simple, really easy to accomplish. You just drill a hole through the 2 pieces of conduit and then add the tent pole clip inside of there. And just like whenever you're putting up like a temporary gazebo or something at the beach, you just press in that button and you can quickly release it. And it's a really good technique and a great thing to incorporate into a build like this. And it's really useful for all kinds of different builds. So thanks so much, Bob, for sharing this build and showing that hack. Really cool to see. Next up is a quilt rack built by Mike. And he put this together for his wife. He said he actually made 8 of them. And he said the top part of the rack is 3/4-inch EMT conduit. And then the bottom part of the rack is 1/2-inch EMT. And it's basically just this leg on each side, and then an arching pipe that goes all the way around and allows you to drape the quilt off of it. And that's a really beautiful quilt. Really awesome job with that. It's so extensive in the design, but it's really beautiful. Wow. But you can see here the bottom of the leg is just a piece of 1/2-inch EMT conduit inside a T connector, and then they're using some of the spring clamps to add removable feet to the bottom of the legs. Really simple project, just a few pieces of conduit, just 2 T connectors, and then those spring clips, and you get a really awesome rack that you can support your beautiful quilts with. So thanks so much, Mike, for sharing this. Really great job. Next up is a really unique project from Mel, but they were doing a theater production, I think for Clue, if I'm not mistaken, is what they said. And they wanted to make a chandelier. And of course, when you're doing a production like this, it's only going to last a few weeks or a couple of months maybe. So you don't really want to spend a ton of money for a prop if you don't have to. So instead of investing in a really expensive chandelier just to use for this, they decided to make one themselves exactly how they wanted it. And they used EMT conduit, and they even used the Harbor Freight tubing roller that we talked about a few months ago on the channel. I'll link that video down below. But they used that to create some full circles out of EMT conduit. And you can see they attached some wood to this larger ring. And then they have a smaller circle down here with 4-way connectors and T connectors to add this, long vertical in the middle that kind of connects the two circles together. And then they painted the conduit this gold or bronze color, and they painted the wood too, I would imagine. I guess the conduit and the connectors is all painted that bronze color. And then they just strung up some of those beads. They look like crystals or diamonds, but they just got those strung between the circles in the build, and they kind of just go to the top circle goes to the middle circle, and then the very bottom circle also goes up to the middle circle, and it looks fantastic. And you can see the chandelier raises and lowers in the production. So super cool. They were happy with how it came out. I think it looks awesome, and they were able to save money in the process. So all around a win-win scenario, and it looks fantastic. So thanks so much, Mel, for sharing that. Really great to see. Next up is a project from Enoch, and they said this was their first project, and it's fantastic. You can see they have an elevated garden on this back area. Looks like a beautiful place to do some gardening. And then they have a wooden raised garden bed down here on the flat ground. And basically they just created an arching trellis that goes from this back area over the walkway and into the raised garden bed. And they just did that with a straight piece of EMT conduit and a maker pipe coupling here to join the arches to the straight pieces of conduit. And then they added some cross bracing with T connectors and some more EMT conduit there. And then it looks like they just secured some of the cattle panels, or that actually might be hardware cloth secured to the frame. And it's just bent and secured to the frame to go all the way over. So now, once these plants down here that you can see, once they start growing, they'll grow all the way up, and they'll have enough support to go all the way over the walkway and just have a really unique piece to be able to walk under and also give the plants some support. So that's really great. Really awesome first project, Enoch. Thanks so much for sharing that in the community. Next up is a surfboard trailer built by David. And this is really awesome. You can see he's got a nice e-bike there. And I imagine he likes to ride around town on that. And he wanted to be able to haul his surfboard, a chair, a cooler, and some different things to the beach. So he put together this awesome trailer. This is really cool. It looks like it's made entirely out of EMT conduit. And basically there's one center pipe that connects to the trailer hitch for the bike. That goes all the way down and then connects to the axle with a T connector. And then he just did the axle method that we talked about a lot in the past on the channel, where you just have a piece of 3/4 inch EMT conduit, and inside of that you have either a threaded rod or a smooth rod that is shimmed inside of the 3/4 inch EMT conduit. I think the best method that we've found so far is PE tubing or irrigation tubing. And then you just get wheels with bearings, and they just kind of spin freely and independently from each other. And you just put a nut on the outside. I'll link some videos down below where we've talked about how to do that, but that's the gist of it. And I really like how he secured it. He basically extended the axle out a little bit and used crossover clamps to secure the axle to the frame. And he's got these bent pieces of conduit, really nice bends, look fantastic, and they just bend up and go to this back support pipe. And I think it's T connectors. Yeah, I guess it would have to be T connectors to have this crossbar with some insulation or a pull noodle there on top of that to protect the surfboard. And then the surfboard just extends to the front and rests on this other piece at the very front that also has some insulation or a pull noodle on it. And as you can see here, it is without the surfboard on top. It's painted black, and you can see the cooler and the storage bin sits in there nicely, and just a really great solution to be able to ride around town and take your surfboard to the water. So thanks so much for sharing this, David. Thanks to everybody for posting your projects. As always, it's a pleasure to sit down and check out what you guys are making and share them with the community. If you want to post your build, you can send it to us through email, you can send it through text, post it on social media and tag us, or post it in the community, of course. There's all kinds of different ways for you to share your builds, and we'd love to see them. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope you have a good week, and we'll see you in the next video.